Guys, welcome. We are here with Dr. Nasheed Parikh. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing
Thanks
very
for
well.
having me.
I'm super excited about this conversation because, you know, we've been, San Jose Barbell has been open for about 8 years now. And one of the things that I've always wanted to help our clients with, giving them somebody to talk to who is a doctor who can give them advice that's and guidance that's actually going to help them. So, because a lot of doctors, they don't understand the full picture.
Sure.
And so that's why I was super excited to meet Dr. Parikh and learn about him because he understands the full picture. So, just a little bit, do you want to go over like a little bit of your background and
Sure.
where
Yeah, I
you're
can do that.
from and all
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So I grew up here, born and raised here in San Jose, and then I went out to the Midwest, did some med school out there, and then ended up doing my family medicine training in Southern California, and then I did additional sports medicine training down in San Diego. Um, and the amazing part of that sports medicine training I got was it was a primary care sports medicine, so we got to learn all about all the family practice, um, all the primary care stuff, and how that related to athletes, how that related to everyone from professional athletes, elite athletes such as Olympians, to the everyday, people like me that are just working out for fun. So we got to get the whole spectrum. So down in San Diego, worked with at the Olympic Training Center, um, got to be one of the doctors at the X Games up in LA. So we got a lot of different experiences,
Yeah.
and through that, just kind of started to see that, you know, the care that professional athletes get is pretty similar to the care that regular individuals get.
Yeah.
But
In what ways?
so, I mean, when you hurt an ankle, can't really do much else to treat an ankle injury. It's but how much care they receive, how much understanding they get,
Yeah.
the amount of education they get, and the amount of attention they get. Rehab, physical therapy, working out, different machines, different ways to just help them out. And
Yeah.
all of that is accessible to everybody, but it's just not always available because of insurance or because of other things that are holding us back
Yeah.
from giving it to everyday individuals.
That's really interesting, and that's kind of I want to ask you about those types of things because I that's literally where San Jose Barbell came from because
Sure.
the attention that I was getting, as a so I played basketball my entire life, high school,
Mm-hmm.
college, and not understanding the strength and conditioning
Sure.
side. I had a lot of injuries. I was very weak,
Yeah.
and so going to the doctors, I wasn't getting any help,
Yeah.
like zero help. And so I want to come back to that
Mm-hmm.
because that's what led me to eventually go down that route and try to figure it out on my own.
Sure.
But so tell me a little bit like what made you want to get into medicine and become a doctor and how did that come about a little bit before we get into some of the other questions?
Um, to be honest, probably the little play school doctor's kit my parents got me when I was a little kid. For some reason, that stuck with me. I loved my pediatrician. She was awesome. And she always let me listen to my own heart with her stethoscope. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I think my relationship with my pediatrician um, was probably one of the things that I always had fun going to see her.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me. And I really actually never had a thought to do anything else.
Anything
And,
else?
you know, um, there's that stereotype of Indian parents pushing you. My parents actually never pushed me. They
Yeah.
were more like, "Are you sure that's what
You
you want
want
to
to
do?"
do?
Because we don't have any doctors in our family. My parents, my aunts, uncles, no one even in my extended family um, is a physician. So, you know, they just knew it was a lot of work, a lot of time, and really expensive. And so they wanted to make sure that that's actually something I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and not just something I was doing because,
You thought you were supposed to.
yeah, um, and that's kind of that's exactly, for me, it just matched with what I always wanted to with my personality, I think. And really, I mean, it sounds cliche, but really taking care of people. But I always saw as what I started to see was I, I started to notice that um, the way doctors did things wasn't always to care for people. And it started to bug me as I was going through school and as I was going through my residency and through my training that wait, if we're caring for people, then why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And if we're supposed to be taking care of somebody, then why do we, some of our attendings tell us don't touch the
Yeah.
patient? Why do they say don't shed a tear? Why do they say, you know, don't show too much empathy?
Yeah.
Why do they say these things to us? And as I went through my training, then I started to get preceptors and attendings that were kind of the opposite, that hugged their patients, that held them, that cried with them, that would call them the next day and check up on them.
Yeah.
And that, I was like, that's what I want to be.
Yeah.
That's what really sits with me. And that's where kind of my journey started of like, yes, this is the type of doctor I always envisioned, because that's who my pediatrician was, and that's who I want to be.
Yeah.
And then I started to find the people that matched with me, and I think that's how then we started our own practice as well, with that as kind of our core, is really caring for somebody, not just for their medical problem, but for their life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really interesting because you're 100% like that describes my experience and what I've seen with all of our clients' experiences. Like how much care can you really get when you go in the, first of all, it might take you, 3 weeks to get an appointment, and then when you go, there's, you do your, your blood pressure, whatever, your weight, and then you go in, you're sitting around for 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, maybe longer, and the doctor comes in, and it's like, it's very clear that the doctor's trying to get to the next spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, all right, don't do anything, and take this ibuprofen, and yeah, like, and which is for a physical injury, that's what I've learned over the years. That is the worst thing that you can do, to not do anything. So, um, what what kind of so how long has your practice been around, and how do you guys approach it differently?
So we started this practice here in 2013, where we started kind of part-time as I was phasing out of where I was working, and then kind of full-time 2014. We just started. I think what really differentiates us is, biggest thing is, one, you get in quickly. Two, we're spending time with you. And right, even if you come in for a knee injury, it's not always about the knee injury. It's about, sometimes people come in, it's like 4 weeks, my knee's not getting better. 8 weeks, my knee's not getting better. Oh, I did rest and I did physical therapy. And it's like, okay, well, sometimes we're not asking the right question.
Yeah.
And I think some doctors, we hesitate sometimes to ask the right question because we know that question is going to open up a can of worms.
Yeah,
right?
You're gonna unravel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And as soon as you do that, it kind of sucks to be like, you're someone passed away in your family,
Yeah.
or oh, you got diagnosed with cancer, or your wife got diagnosed with cancer. Oh, that sucks. Okay, here, take some meds and on your way,
Yeah.
right? So I think what we've tried to do is allow that patient some time to get comfortable, ask those right questions, and then sit with them.
Yeah.
Right? We have boxes of tissues if we need. We have the time to say, okay, why is your knee hurting? Oh, you're stressed. Why are you stressed?
Yeah.
Oh, it's your job, it's your relationship, it's your kids, it's what is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, why is that causing you stress? And a lot of times, most of the time, people walk out of there feeling so much better, that, right? Because stress, even if your pain is you walk in 8 out of 10 pain, you let that stress go, and that same injury, the pain may just become a 2 out of 10, or just maybe nagging. And then we can kind of work with that. But a lot of times, what we really try and do is get to the core issue.
Yep.
And I tell patients all the time, I may not know all the answers, because, I mean, realistically, I'm not going to know everything, but I'm going to help you find it. I'm going to help you find the right people to help you find it, and we're not going to give up on you.
Yep.
And I think that's the thing that really differentiates us. Right, the average time that a doctor gets with a patient in the U.S. right now is about 12 minutes,
Yeah.
and that includes time with the nurse, time with the doctor, and everything. So
Anything in 12 minutes.
it's very, very hard. Yeah. So sometimes I run behind, and patients, sometimes they wait, but they know that when I'm in the room with them, they're going to get the time that they need. And sometimes it's just a simple, hey, I have a little rash, what should I do?
Yeah.
Right? It may take only 5 minutes, but sometimes it might take 45 minutes to sit with somebody and figure that out. And and I think, and maybe we can talk about this later, but it's a whole other topic. that's not always realistic for everybody. So then how can we make a hybrid model, or how can we do that? And I think that's some of the stuff that we're getting into now.
And that's what I really like. And we'll come back to that, how you guys approach, your whole model of taking care of people. Um, but as far as like training goes, right?
Hmm.
We approach it the exact same way, and
Sure.
which is why we're always on the lookout, like, hey, do we have the right people on our
Absolutely.
ecosystem,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because the person who is coming into the gym, yeah, they want to lose some weight and
Hmm.
maybe they want to get healthy, whatever it is, but that part is the easiest part. What people don't realize is like everything that's going on in here
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
outside of their
Yeah.
physical body is what's causing all of these problems.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so if you have 12 minutes, I mean, you're right, how much you don't know the answers a lot of times, and we don't know the answers a lot of times,
Hmm.
but we come to the answers by asking the right
Right.
questions.
Yeah.
And so how many questions can you ask in 12 minutes?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then you gotta uh, listen and think about what's going on, and because a lot of times the person doesn't know, they're not aware,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
um what kind of changes have you noticed? Because what I'm assuming is like you're more like the type of person that I am. Like, I mean, I'll spend time with people even
Hmm.
if they're not a client, because
Sure.
I just want to help them.
Yeah.
But what changes have you seen as far as like what impact you're able to have on people coming to you now in the last 7 or 8 years versus prior to that in the typical model?
Sure. So I think the biggest change that I see is that people don't mind coming to the office because it's a place that they can feel comfortable, they feel safe, um, and they can open up. I
Yeah.
think that's one big thing. Second is patients really feel that warmth, and they feel that support, right? And I think a lot of the feedback I get is like, I don't mind if you don't know the answer, but I know you're there for me. The other
Yeah.
day, I just got an email from a dancer saying that, she emailed saying just one line, like, hey, is my back going to get better because dancing is my life? And right now, I feel like I'm not going to be able to ever dance again. And I told her in person, and I emailed her back just another line that, hey, if dancing is your life, then I promise you I will do everything I can to let you dance, because if you can't dance, then we want you to be happy.
Yeah.
We want you to be able to
Yeah.
we want to get you to the things that you want to do in your life. And if I can't do it, I will find someone else to help you get there. And, you know, it's just, it's that type of feedback that keeps you want to keep going and really be there for people. Because I think what we do, I don't think that all of us doctors realize that we have such a huge impact in the words that we say and how it can affect somebody's life, right?
Mhm.
So like when a doctor tells a cancer patient, oh, you have maybe a year left to live. It's like, well, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Right? You're not God. You
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. Maybe so that happened to my father-in-law. Oh, maybe he's had a brain tumor. 25 years later, he's still, or what was it, 2003? Yeah. So 17 years later, he's still kicking. He's traveling the world. He's doing everything. He's doing fantastic.
And the doctor had said,
So his doctor was amazing. He didn't say it, but
got it.
other people had.
Yeah.
And, online you read, oh, that type of cancer has an average of 3 to 6 years. Other doctors, other people say, oh, maybe you have, a few years left. Why don't you get your affairs in order, blah, blah, blah. And it puts this fear into you, and you start to give up,
Yeah.
right? And I think a doctor's words, where yes, you have to be honest and you tell someone realistically what you've seen and your experiences and all that, but we can also give hope,
Yeah.
right? And we can also teach and educate where, hey, maybe if you make some diet changes and maybe if you exercise a little bit more and you get happier and you decrease your stress and you let things go and become grateful in your life, well, maybe your life opens up a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Maybe your body responds differently.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right? And so those are the types of things that we talk about a lot, and the feedback we get is tremendous. The amount of um, tears of joy just from telling somebody, holding their hand and saying, hey, I'm with you on this journey,
Yeah.
good or bad. And yes, I'll be honest with you, it might be rough and the chemotherapy might be tough and you might lose your hair and you might get your skin might get messed up, and you might be in pain, absolutely, but we will be here with you.
Yeah.
Not just me, but our entire team will be here with you to get you through this. I think that's what people need, is they
Yeah.
need support. They don't always need a fix.
They don't need the answer all the
Absolutely.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We say this all the time. So we had a client who's, she's been struggling with things over the years, but she came to us because she's like, I need that person in my corner. I need a positive place. There's a lot of stuff that has gone on in her life.
Sure.
And recently, one of my staff, who is her head coach, he was like, as I go through, I go through all the messages and interactions with all of our clients, even if I'm not the head coach. And it was clear to me, like, he was trying to, like, give her the answer of, like, okay, well, let's do this. She had some shoulder pain, she had this. Me, what I'm understanding is, like, oh, none of this stuff has anything to do with the shoulder. Like, yeah, there might be some, like, pain there because of
Yeah.
overuse or whatever, but it's all her work stress, her family stress, her XYZ.
Yeah.
And she's, like, really fixated on, I have to do this, I have to. No, you don't have to do that. But what I told him in our conversation was like, look, man, our what we need to do in this case is say, hey, let's sit down, let's talk. Like, what's going on? And that's what she said she needed. Like, she's like, thank you for, and
Yeah.
she felt better.
Absolutely.
And then it's from that place
Mhm.
that we can go and then, oh, what stuff do we need to do?
Mhm.
Because otherwise, if you're not addressing
Sure.
those emotions and those thoughts, it's like
Yeah.
the stuff that you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to do it. And
Absolutely.
even if you do it, it's not going to be very effective.
Yeah.
And I really, really, so, like, when I met and she was telling me about you and how you guys do things, I was telling her one of the things was, clients will come to me and they'll say, my exactly what you said, like, my doctor said, like, I can't do anything. I won't be able to walk again. I've heard that so many times. I won't be able to walk again. Um, I'm not gonna be able, like, or like, I can't do sports or lift weights. I should just do, low impact, minimal
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And you know, and I sit there and I get so angry. I'm like, man, a doctor has so much power. Um, because we look up to a doctor as, a person of authority and somebody who's going to take care of us
Sure.
and help us. And when the doctor says, like, you're just not going to be able to walk again, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It crushes you.
Absolutely.
And so it's so important, and that's why I'm, like, very excited. So, like, if somebody comes to me, I'm like, you need to go to Dr. Bree, because I know that you're gonna actually give a shit to be able to,
Yeah.
say the right things and give the patient hope versus,
Yeah.
give them a sentence pretty much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
What's what other like, have what are some, like, things that kind of stick out in your mind that you've seen clients coming in that, maybe they are before they're going to a different doctor or whatever, and then, like, immediately when they're put into the right environment with you guys who
Yeah.
care, um, like, what shifts do you see from taking the same issue, the same person, just the right environment, in a caring environment?
Sure. Yeah. Oh man, so I have to think of some. I feel like there's so many, but right, um, let's see. So there's one guy in particular, for example, he lost his leg, so he has an amputation down, um, and always having pain, right? He has phantom limb pain, and um, his brace, what's it called? The fake leg.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it right now.
What
Anyway,
is the name of it?
um, prosthetic.
Prosthetic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so his prosthetic wasn't fitting properly, so he's getting ulcers and this and that. And anyway, his old doctor said, well, that's just part of having a prosthetic, is you're gonna get ulcers and you can get stuff like this. And I was like, you know what? I don't know that much about it. I don't see that many patients with prostheses, but I don't think that's the case,
Yeah.
right? Maybe just it's not fitting right. Maybe um, it's not the right one for you. So I send him off to a prosthesis person to get it all checked out. And of course, it comes back as, oh, well, your insurance denies it. You can't get a different one, this and that. So our team got together and said, okay, well, let's see what we can do. Got on the phone with the insurance company, denial. Got on the phone with the medical director, denied. Wrote an appeal. Finally, after conversation with the medical director of what's going on, so again, it took a lot of time,
Yeah.
a lot of conversations, a lot of back and forth. They finally got him approved to get a new prosthesis. He got it because the old one wasn't fitting properly. He got it done, and now he doesn't have an ulcer anymore. It healed up. He's walking better, so there's no more limp,
Yeah.
so he's not having any more back pain.
Yep.
Right? So, but it took effort. Just yesterday, I had a patient who needs this procedure for his stomach pain, and he came in to us because he's like, hey, I went to the GI doctor, and this guy said, yeah, I need the procedure, but insurance is going to cover it for you, and we're not gonna deal with the insurance. So if your primary care or if someone else wants to do it, they can call the insurance and get it authorized, but I'm not going to do it. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
How can he's the one who knows the procedure. He's the one that's going to do the procedure. He's getting paid for the procedure. How is he not going to do it?
Yeah.
So I told him, okay, we'll help you. But I said, I don't know how to do that procedure, and I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. It's going to take me some time to get educated on it, to know what questions to ask when I call the insurance company, and then how to get it authorized. And I know it's going to take us a lot of work. And so, right, so now we're like, okay, well, let us help you find let's help you find another GI doctor that's going to actually help you get this done. And two, from our side, we'll try and get it authorized at the same time. But that kind of stuff takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of efforts. And I think I've been blessed with having an awesome team to be able to help me do that, because I can't do it, right? I can't be on the phone
Yeah.
all the time by myself doing it. And our staff knows what to do. They know how to do it. And they
They all
care
care
enough.
at the same level. Yeah.
Absolutely. They care
Yeah.
enough to say, okay, hey, we're going to help you do that. And
Yeah.
we're going to help you take care of it. Give us some time, be patient, but we got your back.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. So in seeing all this, though, I think one of the things that we've had to do is we saw that we were treating patients' lifestyles,
Yeah.
right? It's not just their knee injury or their back injury or them getting fatigued after a workout. It's treating six aspects of their life, right? Treating their sleep, their stress, their food habits, their exercise habits, their relationship, and then their good and bad habits. If we can take care of all six of those aspects of their life, then we found that they start to fly,
Yeah.
right? Their pain gets better, they heal faster, recovery improves, their workouts improve, everything in their life
Everything
improves,
changes.
right?
Yeah.
So just from fixing their sleep or fixing their stress or fixing their relationship with their kids or their wives or their husbands or
Yeah.
their parents or whatever aspect, because it creates a stress, it creates this tension in the
Yeah.
body, and it doesn't allow the body to heal.
Yeah.
And I think that's where our lifestyle medicine really thrives, is getting into your life, spending lots of time with you to figure out what is it in your life that needs some help, and then how can we help you do that. And so coaching you in there,
Yeah.
not fixing it, but coaching you to help it fix yourself.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I think I saw it on one of your videos as well, and it's awesome to see uh, from a doctor's perspective talking about these things, because like I'll say it all the time, like I can say stuff, but at the end of the day, despite the experience and the amount of clients we've helped and the changes that we've made, people who weren't supposed to walk, or
Mm-hmm.
25 years of back pain just disappeared. Not just disappeared, like people lifting 2-3 times their body weight.
Yeah.
All of these things, I might explain something like that to
Yeah.
someone, like, hey, look, there's two physiological systems. You got your fight or flight and your rest and digest. These aren't like just made up things,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
are in social media.
Yeah.
They're actually real things.
Mm-hmm.
I might say those things and try to show them, like, when you're constantly thinking and stressed, you hold that and you hold yourself in fight or flight,
Mm-hmm.
and that affects
Sure.
that affects you.
Yeah.
But when it comes from
Mm-hmm.
a doctor,
Yeah.
now, like, it has more weight, it has more
Mm-hmm.
impact. And
Yeah.
so one of the things that kind of pops into my mind is, like, do you find that there are some people who, they have all of these issues, it has nothing to do with that particular thing, but they're stressed out about their relationship,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they got financial problems, maybe work is crazy, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
something with their parents,
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and, you know, they want a quick fix or a magic bullet or a solution versus, hey, like, let's sit down and, like, let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. Like,
Sure. Absolutely.
we'll figure it out, but it
Yeah.
might, take us back and forth
Mm-hmm.
and figuring
Yeah.
things out.
Yeah.
Do you find that there are some people who just are not suited for, the way that you do things and kind of the way that we do things? Because it's similar in our, field. Is like some
Mm-hmm.
people just want the magic,
Mm-hmm.
magic thing. Give me the magic
Sure.
thing, and I'm like, it's not a magic thing. We're gonna talk,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
So do you find that?
Um, Rare, right? So there are people that want to come in, they want the quick fix. And I had an executive just the other day whose time was very, very
Yeah.
valuable, and he wanted this shot. And he came in he canceled his meetings. He came in just for this shot, and after about 15 minutes, he walked out without a shot, right? And I think the number one thing to develop with each individual that walks into your office is trust. And
That you're
it
gonna do the best thing for them,
absolutely,
not just.
absolutely, yeah. And I told him, with him, I had to use a different approach. It wasn't the science, it wasn't this. With him, it was money. It was, look, I can do your shot. I'll get paid for it. I'll make more money if I do your shot. So to me to do it, it's easy. It takes me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It doesn't take, it's actually less time for me, more money for me. So why wouldn't I do that shot?
Yeah.
And I said, if you go to a different clinic, that's probably what they'll do. They'll just give you the shot. They'll bill you for it and you're on your way.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, can you just do that? And I was like, well, here's why I don't want to.
Yeah.
Because of X, Y, Z reasons, and it's bad for you, this, that, blah, 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 blah. I said, let's try all this first. And if it doesn't get better, then yes, we can do a shot. And it kind of clicked to him. Like, and he left there. He walked out the door saying, thanks for looking out for me.
Yeah.
Right? It was more that. And even though he was still in pain, he was able to relax a little bit more,
Yeah.
knowing that we're not just going to do something because we're going to make more money or because that's what you want to do, right? And I've told patients, like, hey, if you don't like the way that I do it, look, there's this doctor, and this doctor. I'm sure they'd be happy to take care
Yeah.
of you. And I don't think people expect that.
Yeah.
But I've said that to a few patients that, hey, it's not that, because I also truly from my heart feel that the person you see as a physician, you need to trust them.
Yeah.
Because they're taking care of your life. And if you don't trust what they're going to say to you, then you need to find someone else that you
Yeah.
can trust. And so far, I don't know, maybe in these last 10 years, it's been rare to find someone that um, doesn't mesh with that thought process. And I think it's been hard sometimes because I have to change the way I deal with every single person,
Yeah.
right? It's reading them, it's knowing, okay, what do they need and what are they here for?
Yeah.
And I think, like you gave that example of someone coming with their knee and them having all these other things. I think a lot of people are scared to talk about these other things.
Absolutely.
And so the pain either manifests as something physical in the body, or they need an excuse of why to make that appointment.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to write on paper or they don't want to write online saying, oh, I'm having anxiety or I'm stressed out or I'm depressed. So they write, I'm here for knee pain.
Yeah.
Right? And then when this front office asks them, what are you here for? They say knee pain. Then when they go in the office, I'm like, how's your knee doing? Oh, it's okay. It's been hurting a little bit. And you see that they're looking down. They're not really talking about their knee. And you
Yeah.
ask, what else is going on?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. I had a little pain in my belly. Some acid reflux. Okay, well, why? What's going on? And you start digging a little, and all of a sudden they come up with, well, my son did X, Y, and Z, and boom, can of worms is open. We talk about all that, and then I go back to, okay, so do we need to do something? How's your knee? Do we need to get some extra? She's like, no, let's let me do the things you said first, and if my knee's still bugging me, I'll come back.
Yeah.
And they almost never come back to talk about the knee.
Yeah.
They're almost always coming back to talk about their improvements with their son or daughter, or the challenges that they're having, or they're talking about their boss or their relationship, something else going on in their life. But what I start to see is even though that's all going on, because they've been able to talk about it, they're able to move forward in their life a little bit. They're able to start eating better. They're able to start meditating. They're able to start working out and going, whether it's going to a gym or just going outside on walks in the sun. They start to do that, and then they start to reverse other diseases like diabetes in their life. And as they start doing that, they start that stress level just comes down,
Yeah.
and then they're actually able to sit down with the person that they're having a confrontation with and say, hey, sorry, I
Yeah.
was acting this way, or you know what, I feel like you were acting this way, can we talk about it?
Yeah.
And boom, all of a sudden change is made.
Your body
Right?
instantly your body
It
feels
feels
better.
better. Absolutely. Yeah, it's huge, and I don't think people realize the power of that, right?
Yeah.
So even in strength and conditioning, you probably notice that a lot of people hit a plateau. They're pumping, and all of a sudden they can't lift anymore. But even with those people, and it happens with professional athletes, it happens with um, NCAA athletes, it happens with just weekend warriors, is that they hit this plateau, and you start digging into their life a little bit, and as soon as they let go of whatever's on their mind, boom, they hit that
More
next level.
progress. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I think it's huge what you're doing too is you have to be able to talk to your athletes, you got to talk to your people about what's on your mind.
Yeah.
And I think in this world it's just we're not connecting enough with each other.
No, not at all. I think the two important things that you brought up that really stick out. One is you're absolutely right. People don't want to talk about it because it's hard to
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah.
You don't want,
Yeah.
especially with social media
Yeah.
and all of this
Yeah.
stuff. Like we only share, like of course, I mean it makes perfect sense. Like, well, I'm not gonna share, terrible things that I might be going through,
Sure.
and how I'm dealing with them. But I'm gonna share like, hey, like look at this, I hit this PR, this
Yeah.
is me, getting shredded or
Yep.
blah blah blah. And so
So everyone
we
thinks you
don't,
have a perfect life.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so we
Absolutely.
don't address these things. And so I
Mhm.
think it's so important for, if you're watching or listening, like you have to have this person in your life that you can really like address those things. So, I had an example. So before I get to the example, there's a very common one. Nobody, like the real stuff that's going on, like you said, like somebody might have a knee thing, and that's easy to talk about.
Mhm.
Like, hey man, like
Yeah.
I got this knee thing, and I don't know what's up, and it's
Yeah.
really bugging me, and I've been doing like all of this stuff that is irrelevant as
Mhm.
far as I'm concerned. And it takes digging, and I'm like, well, so many people have stomach issues, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
embarrassing to talk about.
Yep.
Nobody
Absolutely.
wants to talk about it.
Mhm.
And so for you to be able to get to that point,
Mhm.
they have to trust you.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
I think that's so huge. And so if you're watching or listening, you got to find somebody, whether
Mhm.
you're gonna work with Dr. Bree or somebody else who is, what I like to think is like, man, there's more and more people like you who
Yeah.
are doing this,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
hopefully
They're
you can
there.
find someone.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
an example that comes to mind is he's been a client for ours for 5 years.
Mhm.
Um, Extremely stressful job, lots of pressures that are outside of his control, and he's got 4 kids and all kinds of stuff, and used to be a former athlete, very high level, and so recently, so he's always dealt with shoulder issues, and then as he worked with us over the years, those disappeared.
Mhm.
Recently, stress went up to an
Sure.
all-time high, and he was just my shoulder, my shoulder, my shoulder, so fixated on this shoulder, and like I want to bench, and I'm like, one of our phrases on our wall is the goal is to keep the goal, and the goal for everybody is to feel good. Like,
Yeah.
why do you do anything or
Sure.
wanting?
Yeah.
You think you're gonna feel good,
Yeah.
and so do we care about the bench press? No, we care about feeling good.
Mhm.
So with him, our approach was, hey, since knowing that this is an athlete, they have a very competitive and
Sure.
progress,
Yeah.
you know, oriented mindset.
Absolutely.
So I was like, look, let's give him something that can get his mind off of the bench press and
Mhm.
his shoulder, and he can have fun with. We know he's got all this stressful stuff, and we would talk about those things, and then but during those 30 days that we gave him a challenge of like, hey, we're gonna work on our safety squat bar. Has nothing to do with your shoulder. It's complete, like your shoulder is in a completely neutral position,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden he was no longer fixated on that.
Yeah.
There was no more talk of shoulder pain. He was super pumped. He added 40 pounds to his safety squat bar.
Mhm.
Things in his life started to improve because he wasn't fixated
Mhm.
on the thing
Sure.
that was wrong,
Yeah.
which actually was never, it's not, it wasn't
Mhm.
the problem
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, and I'm really glad that you're doing what you're doing because it's always like I hear somebody come in, it's like, yeah, my doctor told me this, and I'm like, I want to go shake that doctor. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
one of the things that then comes to my mind is like, hopefully you kind of realize that what you need is people who care, and but not just care, but are very thorough and competent in what they're doing. And so, hopefully that's kind of what you've realized, like you need somebody on your team who can do that for you. So, if somebody wanted to work with you,
hmm,
how would they go about doing that? What does that look like?
sure.
Um, do they have to be here locally in San Jose? Like, what does that all look like?
Hmm. Yeah, so for most of the people we take care of here in Silicon Valley, not really San Jose, but pretty much all of Bay Area, because we could do a lot of our care remotely.
Yeah,
Now, initially, we do want to see the patient in person, and then once we have a relationship with them, we can do things
remote.
in different ways.
Yeah,
So, part of our problem has been that the insurance companies put a box around what we can and cannot do. So, we've started two different programs. Our kind of um, bigger, better, stronger program is the lifestyle medicine program, which has all the bells and whistles that kind of focused on people who really want to focus on their entire lifestyle, that are dedicating time and efforts to making changes. Because in that we have not just myself, but an entire team of people that's working with them to help them make these changes and sustain these changes throughout their life. And we work with them for
they
a whole
don't want
year.
just a quick fix, a
Exactly.
band-aid. They
Yep.
want to address what's the
Absolutely.
root.
Yeah. So for that, right? So it's all on our website, and they can make an appointment. They can have a session with I, and a breakthrough session with I, and she kind of take them through it, make sure they're a good fit for us, and we're a good fit for them before they make that type of investment. And then, so that's one program that we have, very easy to get into, and we can start someone same day, next day. And then our other program, which is kind of for the masses, and that's our solution to this big healthcare debate that healthcare is too expensive, it's too hard to get in, not enough time with people, we can't use technology. It's like, well, wait a minute, yes, we can, but we can't do it with the insurance companies. And so we've come up with a super simple, cost efficient system where we can use lots of tech and take care of you no matter where you are in the world, at such an extremely low financial point that almost anybody can
Yeah,
afford, um, regardless of if you have insurance or don't have insurance. And that, again, that it only covers primary care
yeah,
and sports medicine, but it's enough to get you started on this path to heal yourself,
yeah,
right? And our mindsets, no matter who we deal with in what program, is the exact same,
yeah,
right? So these are two ways. In that we can start you again same day, next day,
yeah,
and everything's on our website. We try and, right, there's no call. Oh, can I see you at 2 o'clock? No. 3 o'clock? Oh no, next Tuesday at 4 o'clock. No, it's just go on our website, find a time that works, click the button. It's easy.
yeah,
Or if you want to do the lifestyle program, there's a button for that.
yeah,
If you want to do the direct primary care program, there's a button for that. It's just very easy. And I think one of the constraints that we have to work with people from all over the world or all over the country is our licensing,
yeah,
right? We have to kind of stay within California. When people are traveling,
yeah,
if they're living in California or traveling around the world, we can still be in touch and take care of them. But I think that's our bigger problem, is how can we do that? So we're working on ways to be able to give our message and different ways of taking care of yourself through social media, through things like this, to be able to get people to at least start thinking about their health,
yeah.
and then finding partners throughout the country, throughout the world, to say, hey, if you're living in New York, here's a clinic or
Yeah,
here's a
here's
doctor
who
you
we
can
would
go to. If you're
recommend.
in
Yeah,
Southern California, you can go to these doctors. If you're in Dubai, or you're in India, or you're in China, you're in Australia, here's people we can connect you with. And so we're starting to do those types of things, because right, the world is no longer a
just
one
here. Yeah,
place, right? It's you're living and you're working all over the world. Fortunately, technology allows us to video conference, email, um, talk on the phone, no matter where people are in the
yeah,
world, text and email pictures. I mean, we've even got some cool gadgets where we can see inside your ear, no matter where you are, and you
yeah,
can send us pictures so we can see exactly what, do you have an ear infection or not.
yeah,
And you don't, if you don't, well then don't come in.
yeah.
or you don't, or we can send you antibiotics if you do, or we can give you different ways to deal with what's going on. So that's how, right, we're starting to deal with these things, and it's been amazing. The people we're dealing with right now are loving it, and we're saving them time, we're saving them money, and we're more than any of that, we're elevating their life, right? And I think it's not just health, but it's life. If we can elevate somebody's life, they're automatically going to get healthier. And health and medicine is just one small aspect of somebody's being, right? And then in school, the school I went to, our whole thing is mind, body, and spirit. And if we can really take care of these three things, the mind, the body, and the spirit, then people are going to thrive in their life. And right, that's one of the best things that we can see.
That's awesome. So make sure something pops up somewhere with the website and how they can reach you, and there'll be links and all that kind of stuff. Make it super easy. But you're absolutely right. I totally agree. Our mission at San Jose Barbell has always been the same thing. It's that we're really really good at strength and conditioning and fat loss, but those are vehicles for you to become the best version of yourself, because there's a lot of people who are in really good shape and they're still not, like, at the end of the day, they're not feeling good. Like,
absolutely.
There's a lot of people who are super successful, they're not feeling good. We live in Silicon Valley, a lot of very financially successful people. But to us, the way we define success means if you're sitting by yourself, all alone, no social media, no people to, project an image to. Are you feeling good?
Absolutely.
Or is your mind like, are you terrified by yourself? Or whatever feeling you have. And that's the measure of success. I can sit there by myself and I can have a smile on my face. I'm like, man, I feel really good about everything.
Absolutely.
And so we use these tools of medicine and strength and conditioning to be able to allow you to do that. So, but you got to approach it in that way, and don't forget that that is the goal, not fixing a certain thing, or getting a six pack or anything like that. So I'm super excited. Like I keep saying, like, I've been looking for somebody to send our clients to. So that's definitely going to be my recommendation. But I hope to. I know you're a busy guy, but hopefully we'll have more episodes and talk about different things. But any last words that you would like to share?
Well, I mean, I think one last thing you said, being a busy guy, right? I mean, I think that's relative. So we have the practice, we have a ton of patients, which is awesome. At home, we have 4 kids, wife, and family living with us. So it's busy at home as well. But it's what I live for, right? And I think it's knowing that if you're doing the things that you want to do, right? Like, we consciously had 4 kids, so being busy with them, I can make it stressed. I can be stressed out about it and a burden, or I can enjoy it, right? And when I choose to enjoy it, when I choose to enjoy my relationship with my wife, when I choose to enjoy the job, it's no longer a job. Parenting is no longer stressful. And so then busy becomes like, oh yeah, I'm busy, but it's not a big deal. And so then can we make time for the things that we want to do? Absolutely, right? And I think that's a big thing that, and I bring that up because so many people feel like in Silicon Valley, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, and I got to make money, 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 that they don't spend the time with their spouse. They don't spend the time with their kids. And then later down the road, their relationships with the family suffers, and then they go into this.
What was it for? Then there's resentment, and then their health deteriorates.
And then they, at the end, when they're 60, 70 years old, the advice I get from my patients, I always ask them, hey, you're wise now and you've lived your life. What can you tell me, having kids and all this? And they say, don't focus on the money. Go to your kids' soccer games. Go to their basketball games. Go to their gymnastics lessons. Go spend time with your kids. Take your wife out to dinner. Go on a walk with her.
Be present.
Be present, absolutely. The money will come if you do things the right way. If you're honest in what you do, the money will come. And whether you have 5 million in your bank account, or 1 million in your bank account, or 500,000 in your bank account, or nothing in your bank account.
500.
what difference does it make if you're not happy with what's there and you're not happy with the relationships you have in your life? Because you're not going to leave this world with any money. You're going to leave it with someone standing by your side.
Yeah.
And I've always kept that. And, the inspiration for me of that has always been my wife, who's inspired me to always be better. And I think having somebody, right? Like I may be that for somebody, but for me, you always have to have somebody that's there. For me, it's my wife that says, hey, are you doing okay? And how can you be better? She's always challenging me. How can you be better?
Yeah.
And I think that, so then busy doesn't become a problem. Job doesn't become a problem.
Yeah.
Nothing becomes an issue because it's always like, yeah, I got this. I can do this. And I have a support system behind me as well. And I think that's what I would leave everyone with is you got to find your own support system, whether that's in an office like ours, it's in a gym like yours, it's a friend, it's a family member. It doesn't matter. You got to find a support system that's going to support and guide you in a proper path that's for you, not for somebody else.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing is that those support systems are there. You just have to be willing to look.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't look, then you won't find it.
Yeah.
Well, that was awesome. It was great speaking with you, and I look forward to speaking with you again. And we will see you next time.
Thank you for having me.